ahead and call this meeting to order. So we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, to be a symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Moving on to adoption of agenda.
Mr. President, members of the board, I recommend that you adopt the agenda as is.
All right, so we have a recommendation from Superintendent Salazar to approve the agenda as is. Any questions? We'll need a motion,
So moved.
and we'll need a second.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. All members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Welcome to everybody. Full house. We're loving this. This is the home stretch for us. This time of year is exciting. I think it's probably the most stressful part of the year, I think, for teachers and administration, even the board at times, but it's also the most exciting piece. We attended the baccalaureate last night. One of the themes was just about the excitement of the next phase of our students' lives in their transition to adulthood and the decisions that they're going to have to make. And so I find that equally exciting as we move on with our year. Once it's behind us, graduation, and we can look forward to doing a really good job next year. So it's just really exciting. So welcome to everybody, and thank you for being here. Approval of minutes.
Mr. President, members of the board, I recommend that you approve the minutes from the special board meeting from May 13th, 2022.
We have a recommendation from Superintendent Salazar to approve the meeting minutes from May 13th, 2022. Any questions, corrections?
Thank you, Patty, for being so efficient.
She's on it.
All right, if there's no questions, I'll need a motion for approval.
I'll motion to approve the special meeting minutes for May 13th.
I'll need a second.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second. All members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Very good. Citizens comment? Moving on to superintendent board comments and accommodations.
Our favorite part of the evening, Mr. Adams.
I'll just go in the order they are in here, I guess.
I'm sorry, what?
I'll just go with the order they are here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, Mr. Crowe has some JRCC students with him this evening.
Board members, these are few of my cadets from the program this year. All three of these individuals are part of the color guard teams that won the state championships for both male and female. They competed in. They took 4 color guard competitions throughout the year, placed in 3 out of the 4, including the state one. They've done outreach things, color guards for the community of Edgewood and Wary, the 9/11 memorial service that the fire department, police department put on for Edgewood. All of our fundraising is done through McCall's, and this year they raised almost a little over $7,000 to pay for military dining out and for all of our events.
That's awesome.
And then our plan for the summer is summer camp up in Colorado Springs. 10 cadets get to go to that, and then the 4th of July parade.
That's exciting. So, what grade are you guys?
I'm a junior.
Junior. I'm a sophomore.
Junior.
Okay, so they're going to be around next year. Yeah.
I was going to say, I would add that we were recently at a board training that they did not have a color guard there, and we were sitting there going, we have an awesome color guard.
Yes, and we will be hosting that next fall, and so we'll put you on our calendar that you.
Hosting what?
It's the regional, are we region 5? 4, region 4, so all the school boards from all the regions around, all the school districts, And so we'll open our ceremony up with your amazing group of kiddos doing the color cards.
They've also been invited to do the state fair rodeos.
Oh, that's exciting. You'll have to let us know when that is. It's kind of like, I
Wait a second, that's fine.
And this
Thank
page
you.
is here somewhere? The National History Day?
Let me go.
And our kids are so generous that I'm getting over the flu. But I'm still coughing, so I didn't want to not cough on people. But Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Salazar, and our lovely central office staff, we couldn't do it without you guys either. This is the National History Day team. Come on up, guys. We just uploaded 7 projects for nationals today, so we have 7 teams that are competing at the national level. We did very well at state, so I'd like to just sort of turn it over to the kids, let them introduce themselves and tell you what your project is and maybe what you want at state or if you're going on to nationals.
Okay, my name is Mags Axelrod, and my project, I built a website relating to the Colston Foundation, which was here in New Mexico. It was a chimpanzee biomedical experimenting facility that thankfully got shut down because there's a lot of malpractice there, and I just made a website about that, and I got 3rd at state for individual website. Yes.
Hi, my name is Aurelia Vargas. I created a mini documentary about Cleve Jones, who is an activist, active in the 70s and 80s, and he remains active today. But one of his most notable accomplishments was the creation of the National AIDS Memorial Quilt. And so I followed his journey with my documentary, beginning in the early 70s and continuing through the mid-90s. And then I received the Sandoval Strong Special Award at state.
That's nice.
I'm Daniel Gonzalez. I'm his partner, Pellegrino Sanchez. We worked on a performance on the Korean DMC. In state, we won 3rd second for performance, and then we won the Cold War History Medal, special award.
And they just uploaded for national.
Oh, awesome.
My name is Lisa Diana. Me and my partner, Carly, who's not able to be here, won 2nd in state with our exhibit on the Pecan Death March, and we also got a special award.
She's the reigning national offices, and I'll let them, they're here and can tell you about that. We have 6 students who are going on to either CONA, which is the Conference on National Affairs, and then NJC, which is the National Judicial Conference. And so we are currently fundraising through the YMCA right now. They were a little overwhelmed with the fundraisers that are going on right now for YMCA, but they are trying to raise as much as they can, and I know the district has offered to provide a little bit of help, and we really appreciate that. Well, more than a little bit. You guys are being incredibly generous. Yeah. So we're trying to give the district a little help.
Right,
Yeah. So,
exactly.
but it was such a fast turnaround on stuff, and so I will be actually going with the National Judicial Conference team to Minneapolis. But I'm going to turn it over to the kids now. So we'll start with Aurelia.
All right, so with YAG focusing on it's a model government. So we have students here that are modeling the executive, legislative, judicial, and media branches that are held in YAG. So throughout the year, and Helga Trio and I, we were state officers this past year, and she couldn't make it, but we organized throughout the entire year. And she was the Chief Justice, and I was the State Land Commissioner. So we organized conference throughout the year to prepare. And then we also have members here that were involved in the pre-conference task force. So whenever you've heard of task force, that were involved pre-conference in researching relevant issues to New Mexico and how to address them within legislature. So this past year, I was elected governor, model governor of New Mexico.
Wow.
And I worked with I was a task force officer, so I worked to pass that bill at conference this year.
And didn't you end up with an actual tell me about your internship?
Oh, and I am currently working with the State Land Office for an internship right there. The conference would usually be held in the State Roundhouse, but because of a conflict, we were working in a lot of it was in the State Land Office. and I had the pleasure, while being the model land commissioner, to meet the real land commissioner. And so I've been in contact with her, and I'm going to start an internship there in July.
That is awesome.
To like really make sure I'm a good governor and I serve the youth government well, I will be attending the Governor's Convention in Washington, D.C. in June, and I will be attending the Conference on National Affairs in July.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's awesome.
So I this year I participated in the legislative branch. I wrote a bill about removing the fee on cremation permits because there's a $230 fee for just filing the paper in the state for a cremation, nothing to do with the actual cremation. So that's what my bill was about. It was about removing that for our citizens, and it passed the Senate and the House, and it was signed by our governor. And then I was also elected this year's state lieutenant governor for office positions, and yeah.
What's your name?
Max, my partner.
Thanks, Axelrod.
Okay, so I'm Maria Sanchez, and this year I was in the judicial branch, and we did a bunch of briefs, and this is my partner, Elena. We actually had to present in front of Angelica, Chief Justice, and it was an awesome experience. I loved it. And I'm planning to go to the National Judicial Conference in August. Yeah, in Minneapolis.
You're also a state officer.
Oh, I'm also a state officer. I'm a state auditor.
Hi, I'm Elena Dominguez, and this year I served in the judicial branch. In the judicial branch, you basically do two cases. You do the defendant and respondent, and this year's topic was the First Amendment rights, and how far can a school district go with First Amendment rights, and with how far is it actually protected. And I also plan on attending National Judicial Conference.
So you're the person I need to talk to because I have some First Amendment issues. Yeah, I know.
You firm up the dress code.
There you go.
So I'm Robert Gonzalez, and I media with the I took pictures of what was happening, and
What did you guys do with all those pictures? What did you guys
we made a slideshow.
And may have been the most loved kid at
Oh.
state conference.
Without Robert.
He was our unofficial campaign manager.
Well, obviously you did a good job.
Kids from other schools are trying to recruit Robert.
Will we be able to see the slideshow before you?
So the media show, have they posted or not? I don't think it's been posted yet, so.
It's not gonna get posted.
Yeah, this was a difficult year for media because, well, for all of them, right? All of the schools were recruiting and trying to build the programs again, and so, so they were, what did they have, 6 people, I think, in the media branch who were trying to put these presentations together and doing videos and stuff. So there will be things that eventually get posted. I don't think the full video will, but I think some of the other stuff might get posted. But it's really nice to be going back next year. He was our only freshman. And so to have a strong media representative is going to be really, really neat next year. So, that's
Great, great. You guys represent us well.
Yeah.
You're taking over the world. Good job, Danny.
I don't think we have, is the next part mine too?
No, the next
That's
part,
you, right?
the next part's
I don't
mine.
think we have any student
Council,
council
okay.
representatives here tonight.
Okay,
Any student
thank
council
you. I'm
reps
sure that they
wanna talk?
have some other things going on this week.
Okay, it's not time yet.
Oh,
Okay, we do have somebody.
Yeah. Okay, do we want to do her and then we'll do our student achievement and excellence. So go ahead, hon, you can come up and present and then we'll do our excellence and student achievement awards.
Hi guys, I'm Alex Porter. I'm talking on behalf of the student council because everyone wanted to come here.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
I'm junior body president. I'm going to tell you all of the news around the school as I'm happening currently. So again, thank you guys for having me here. I want to start off by discussing the Senior Spirit Week we had the week of the 25th. Monday was a shoe game day, Tuesday was Jersey Day, and Thursday was everything but a backpack day, and everything was Spirit Day. And Friday was Spirit Day, of course. We also had a second Spirit Week, which was our prom Spirit Week, which consisted of Adam Sandler Day. I'm sure you guys know who that is.
We all know who that is.
Tuesday was dressed like your type day, and Wednesday we wore pink. You guys watch Mean Girls? Yes. And 2000 Day was Thursday, and Future Friday was on Friday, and he dressed like your future career. And after COVID protocols, we had a high student participation for both Spirit Weeks, which was awesome because not a lot of people like to do that anymore. And on Thursday, we had a pep rally ran by our seniors, and then we had more free time afterwards in the Pinto patio. Students enjoyed games and popcorn and such with all of our friends and to the end of the day. And while we did have prom last year, this year's prom felt like the return to normalcy that we all needed. This year's prom was on May 7th, and the theme was Vegas, baby. We had around 250 students and more in the attendance, and it was an awesome success. We also had a live band with Claire. I remember she left, but she's part of the band with Steakenstein. We had a live band there. It's pretty cool. And class of 2023 would like to thank the board for all the supporting with all of our problems and all the stuff we ran through for prom, because prom was a lot of handful. And thanks a lot for that. And at this time, class of 23, we're in the process of negotiating terms for our MHS first ever senior parking. We hope senior parking becomes a legacy for all our future MHS seniors, and which that consists of so we'll pay for the parking spot, and then we paint like whatever. Well, of course, school appropriate, whatever you would want. So we're hoping that builds a legacy for MHS, and thank you guys for all you guys do for all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a lot of fun. If you need help strong-arming Mr. Adams about the senior parking stuff, let me know.
She was supposed to come and meet with me on Monday, and she decided to bring to the board first.
We are educating these kids. That's kind of like, they know exactly how to play. Okay, I want to move on to the excellence. So every year we get to give Excellence in Student Achievement Awards, which the name of it is kind of confusing sometimes because it's really actually for staff and adults, community members, and the work that they do to support our students. And we have 5 people that we're recognizing, that the board has chosen to recognize this year. And I'm going to let Ms. Natalie Romero talk a little bit about them and why they were chosen. And if we can get the board to go up front, we'll shake some hands. We're going to do this without crying. Maybe.
So first, I want to, do you want them all at once? How do you want to do this?
However you want to do it. Let's
So I would like to ask Eileen Wood to come up. Yay! So Eileen worked with us for many years here at Mountain View, and then moved to Edgewood Middle School. She retired a year ago, sat out a year. She was kind of in the background though, helped Mr. Bibiano and I with some mentoring stuff, and was never really far. And this school year, as you guys know, COVID hit, and we had a VAL program last year with over 500 kids in it, and we did everything we could do very quickly to try and just make it work. This year I think Mr. Bibiano said, what did we call Miss Wood?
Because we needed it, we knew we
She's
needed.
endorsed in everything that you
Yes.
can possibly
Yes.
imagine, every subject, so.
We knew we needed a teacher that could really look at the work and grade the work and help us get it, the VAL program aligned into something that we could be proud of. So over the past year, Eileen has handled over an average of 150 to 175 students at one time. That's one teacher, 150 to 175 kids at one time, all subjects, not just one subject area, but all subjects, including electives. She has created a VAL program that I am absolutely proud of. When the kids, Mr. Adams, we've talked about the high school credits and what it means to finish a class, and she works with the kids. They have Google Meets at least once to twice a week. She communicates with parents we've never had that before. She is motivating to students, and we could not have created the VAL program that we have now. So thank you. That's why I think they. Thank you.
Could you explain this program, VAL program?
The VAL program is a virtual academy of learning, so it's a 100% online program.
Well, we used to have it even prior to COVID, but it was a little bit, there was fewer students just because, but with COVID going on, we had more people enroll in it, so it was a lot that we weren't necessarily prepared for. So she got us some.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been going on for about 2 years, so.
The next group of individuals are my partners in crime over the last 2 years. So nursing staff, could you please come forward? So I'm going to start with Julie Sanders, and she's a trooper. Can I say why?
She can't even smile, poor baby.
So she had oral surgery today, and she's here.
Wisdom teeth taken
She
out.
had her wisdom teeth removed. She's here. So Julie Sanders started with us in 2017, and I think that she was the best hire I've ever done, and ever been able to hire. Julie has become our lead nurse and has mentored the 3 other ladies of the team. But I have to say one thing more than anything is this is absolutely a team. A team of health services providers I've never ever seen work so well together. So Julie Sanders. Donslyn Worthington was hired this year, early or a little September-ish. Lacey Facchini was hired right at the beginning of the year, and Chantala Woods was hired exact same time. Yeah, so it's all right at the beginning of the school year. It feels like it's been forever. Yeah. But these 4 ladies have helped manage COVID. Plus, they have managed our student health and, in many cases, our staff health. They have taken care of many of us in this room when we needed that, plus all of the other staff. They go above and beyond for student health. They work very hard. They, many times I was on the phone with each of them, 9 o'clock at night when we got a COVID call, trying to make sure that, we were walking through the protocols as we should. Finding out somebody was COVID positive or a close contact way off of their hours, and they've never hesitated. They don't hesitate to jump in. They don't hesitate to go above and beyond. We could not have made it through this past 2 years without you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for what you do in and out.
And so many COVID clinics for all of you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys and all the work. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. Amazing, amazing.
Hi, Mom.
Very nice, thank you.
Thank you guys so much. And we won't make you stay through the whole meeting. Put your ice packs on. You know, we don't get to do this all the time, so I love this time of year that we get to recognize them and all the hard work. So it's very exciting to do.
Too bad that we came with the rest of some.
Oh, yes, yeah, it's going.
They're all-
There are so many people that deserve it.
Yes.
Definitely. Cream of the crop.
All right. We're ready. We should move on to our presentation.
Yes, we have Ms. Rapina from RBC. Live in person. We haven't seen, some of these people have never even seen Regina. That's not her voice, but.
I'm just happy just to not do the phone tap.
The mysterious voice finally materialized.
Yeah.
Mr. President, members of the board, superintendent, good evening, everyone. I'm here tonight to report on the results of the sale of your first installment of your most recent GEO bond authorization, Series 2022 bonds. We finalized the interest rates with New Mexico Finance Authority, and we are planning on closing the bonds on May 27th. At that point, the funds will be available to the district on a requisition basis. So the final true interest cost that the district has received on this borrowing is 2.1%. The district did qualify and receive $400,000 of this loan at 0% interest rate based on the NMFA's disadvantaged funding program. The district will pay a total interest of $350,000 over the life of the bond. You'll see on page 2 of the presentation just the history of the true interest cost of your sales going back to 2016. Just for comparison, what we are experiencing right now is the rates pre-pandemic levels. In addition to the district receiving disadvantaged funding, the 10-year treasury right now is at around 3%. So the district is 90 basis points below what the US AAA rated credits are pricing at the moment. You'll see on page 3 a semi-annual debt service for this upcoming borrowing that's going to close here in a few weeks. And you'll see that the first principal payment is structured to be on September 1st of this year. So all the excess cash that the district has in the debt service fund has allowed us to accelerate almost a quarter of the borrowing to be paid off here pretty quickly, thus reducing your overall liability over the life of the bond. There is some additional information on the markets in the back of the presentation, but with that I would be happy to stand for any questions, and my congratulations to the district on this successful sale and interest rates.
It looks really good. I really appreciate the work that you all do for us. You know, this process has always been a little complicated, you know, and I think once we started using the state consortium, I don't know what you would call that. The New Mexico Finance Authority, that really kind of took a lot of the guesswork out of it, I think, you know, and made it less volatile, I guess you would say, in a way.
And it is the lowest cost option for the district based on the current market conditions, based on the fact that you are receiving a disadvantaged funding. New Mexico Finance Authority does not require for you to obtain a rating from Moody's or any other agency. They just undertake the district's credit under their own, and you are receiving the rates that New Mexico Finance Authority is basically providing, which is a lot lower than what the public markets would provide based on your current underlying rating and your financials.
It was
touch and go there for the very beginning to get our system in place, but we have our system now, so we're good. Because it was different, and we had never done it before, so.
I really appreciate that commentary too that you have on page 6.
Yes.
That's really good information. I don't know that we've always had that.
Not quite like that.
Yeah.
And I think that was
Really.
part of, I mean, I think that this is comprehensive, and where the other, when we were getting the bids, you know, or the offers from the multiple banks and, you know, investors, and trying to keep up with it, and, you know, where are they from, or, you know, is it, I just really appreciate this whole format. It's so much easier.
Well, just to give you a comparison, for example, a couple of weeks ago, we priced a district that is higher rated than yourselves currently on the market. And they received interest rates in the public markets over 3%, and that's given the fact that you guys actually qualify. That disadvantage funding provided by New Mexico Finance Authority is really what makes a huge difference for the district.
Very good.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. And thank you for coming out, we appreciate it. Thank you.
And I would say on the phone calls, as much as Elizabeth, Ms. Howells doesn't like to push the button on the phone, but you've always been attentive on the phone as well.
Yeah.
We've struggled with others, so I don't know what kind of magic you do on your end.
Yeah, you're good at it.
We've never had to repeat or have you repeat, you know, so it's worked really well, so thank you so much. Good stuff.
Good stuff.
All right, we good to move on? All right. Principals and athletic director board reports. Any questions? Principals, athletic director?
I do have a question for Mr. Adams.
Okay.
Senior checkout. What all does senior checkout entail? I've had several parents ask me, different students ask me about it, and I said, I'm not really sure. I've had 2 other kids go through it, but it's been a while. I don't remember.
There are, Mr. President, members of the board, senior checkout consists of a sheet that each senior gets that has every department in the high school that they have come in contact with. So they have to sign out with athletics to make sure they've turned in all their uniforms, have to sign out with cafeteria to make sure they don't have any fines. They have to make sure they sign out with every teacher to make sure all their books have been returned. In this case, this year, the Chromebooks have to be returned. They sign out with counselors to make sure their transcripts are in order, nurse to make sure that they don't have any meds left over, things like that. So it's a pretty extensive thing.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, principals?
We were looking at the playground at Moyard Elementary. It looks like they're really starting to enjoy it.
It's been a true blessing to be able to get it done. It's just been great. So I think what's even more fantastic is that the landscaping areas out in the back have actually turned out to be wonderful little play areas. There's enough grass in those areas that we've got kids on the main field, kids on the grass areas, kids on the 1st and 2nd grade playground, kids out on the, so it's just been great. Plus, all of these areas have been excellent to eat outside. Dr. Harrison and I were talking about next year, even though we're moving kids into the cafeterias, really trying to figure out ways at the schools that we can keep the kids eating outside, because it's something that we've begun and just trying to do that. And so I thank you all for your support on that. But yeah, it's been fantastic. Thank you.
I was sorry they were going to cut whatever was canceled, because I was looking forward to going out there. I'll go out one day and look at it.
You're more than welcome to come anytime, and we'll give you a tour and let you see.
Thank you.
Get some kids out there and you can play with them.
That's for sure.
Being that I'm new to the board, and I have been involved with the schools of MES for years on a peripheral
And as a senior, not having kids currently in school, I am just so impressed with what I'm seeing after having come on the board to see what all you guys have been up to. Because it is just awesome to see all these kids come up and place and going to all these different parts of the U.S. to participate in state, and just all the stuff that they're doing is just amazing. So I thank you all for all your good work, and the school reports. I mean, the kids are getting back into what's normal and and they're advancing and making up the progress that they lost. It's just an awesome thing to see how things have turned around in this last 6 months or whatever. So thank you. And thank you for all you do, and you as the staff, as the administration staff. So you guys are doing awesome. You make a great team, yes. You
Yeah,
do.
amazing teachers, so
Definitely
thank you very much.
Definitely have to commend you guys for the kids and their progress this year.
Yes,
It's
awesome.
amazing.
Makes you feel better about society and the world, isn't it?
Doesn't it?
It's amazing.
Yes. When it's all so.
We've always had good schools. We've always had good teachers.
Yes.
They're still around. Just work this way.
Well, I mean, the future looks bright, but so I'm coming up on 10 years doing this, and what's nice is catching up on maybe students we saw 5 years ago, or, moving on to, post-college and, careers, and doing some amazing things with that, and others that have just, when you see these presentations, you don't take it for granted that something's gonna happen to that child, that there's something, whether it's in their, they start their own business, or if, they continue their education. Years later, to just see the successes that they have, it just makes you feel really good, and know that, they got a good start with that. So, great comments.
Yes.
Any others? Any other questions? All right, I think we'll move on.
Did you guys meld your principal questions and your comments?
We did. Did you like that?
Yeah. Well, and I do have to say on my superintendent's report, we met on Friday, discussed the budget, kind of went through things, and that's pretty much what we've been working on. So we're good to go. So I don't have anything new and additional to add. Yeah. Ms. Romero, are you going to share, have you put the screen down, or can share the fine arts application?
Do I need to share it?
Do you want
a video?
That was fine.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. I didn't see the
Yes.
You didn't. I saw the slideshow, but I didn't see the video. That's okay. I know that's. We're all good. So let's do the action item then.
Anyone have any questions about the fine arts application?
Dr. Harrison did
Dr.
a great
Harrison
job.
has answers.
I'm going to turn that over to Dr. Harrison. She did a great job.
I sent all the answers to you.
Yes.
I would just say, I definitely appreciate the presentation. Getting to see a lot of the kids, their own artwork and some of the hard work. And after my recent trip, I don't know why I was just equally moved by even the student art, getting to visit, the birthplace of the Renaissance and get to witness all this incredible artwork. You realize how important that really is, and not just, paintings, it's the music piece of it, it's the, and some of the initiatives and stuff that are interwoven into the goals of our fine arts program, I think, yield good citizens. I think that it's very therapeutic. That's the other piece to it, is it allows students to deal with situations differently and use the arts to express themselves. And so, I mean, I was really thankful for that little presentation and the slideshows. Two links didn't work, though, I will tell you that. I don't know, did you guys click on the audio? Yeah.
I tried to ask for permission too, so I didn't see that part.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
I just didn't hear you give it to me.
Anyways, well, if there's no questions, do you have a recommendation for us?
I do. Mr. President, members of the board, I recommend that you approve the elementary fine arts application.
So we have a recommendation from Superintendent Salazar to approve the elementary fine arts application. And I'll need a second.
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second. All members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Very good, motion passes. Consent agenda. Thank you so much.
Did you have anything you want to talk about on your board, on
Yeah, I
your board
was
report?
thinking,
I'm sorry, we
questions?
kind of messed that up. I messed that up. You're good? Okay.
There was something I was
I
gonna.
know there was something. What was it?
Mr. President, members of the board, I did say on the report that I would give a verbal update of a national consultant that came into the district last Wednesday and Thursday. His name is Sheldon, or Shelley, is what he goes by, Bierman, and he consults with AASA, and a year ago, we wrote a grant for social emotional learning to be involved in a national cohort of 5 other districts across the nation that would just meet with SEL leads and superintendents about the rollout of SEL and what that looks like in school districts across the nation. And so we, for the last month, or last year, we have been meeting monthly, both in combined meetings and then superintendent meeting and then SEL lead meetings, and just gaining knowledge and ideas and kind of the history and ideas on curriculum. So culminated with a site visit to Virginia Beach, and where we got to visit some schools. They are very far along in their implementation. It's been going on since 2007, and what that looks like in a very advanced district. And then part of the grant, or being a recipient, was having him come into our sites. So in 2 days, we saw every school site, at least 2 classes in every school site for a minimum of 30 minutes, some were longer, and we got very positive feedback. Where we are in our journey and learning and in continuum of implementation is very much at the beginning steps, but he was very positive about what he saw in the classrooms, and he's been a superintendent in 5 major, from our size of district to Louisville, Kentucky. So all kind of areas of, different sizes. And we saw, from actual delivering of the SEL lessons from our adopted, chosen curriculum in SEL, to embedded trauma-informed practices of just building relationships with students. And we're very excited about that. As you know, you guys adopted a strategic goal, or one of the goals this year, as was SEL. And so, being at the beginning of our journey and getting that feedback from the national consultant was very positive for us. So we're excited of where we're going to go.
I didn't get to attend the South Mountain tour, and I met Ms. Romero and Shelley for lunch, and they were just gushing about Ms. Guston's class at South Mountain and what she's doing with her 3rd graders, and so I emailed them to see if I could come. So I got to go today, and it's just amazing, and really, just seeing those kiddos, 3rd graders, and they're, figuring out how to deal with emotions and how they're feeling positively, how to treat other people, just that self-esteem and being able to verbalize. And, I think that was one of the big things that Natalie and I brought back, from the Virginia Beach experience, is really that student voice and that we really need to focus on is really hearing from the kids. Is what we're doing working for you? You know, is where we're going? Is that preparing you for where you need to go, and giving you the skills that you need, and really getting that information from them, because obviously we have rock star kids. They're amazing kids, and we can learn so much from them. So it's been a good experience, and it's a good beginning of our journey, and really, again, and I hate the term, but working on those soft skills, but just mental health and making productive, healthy adults, and how to cope with things. And we've all been through traumatic experience over the last 2.5 years in different ways, and it's really exciting to see the growth in that and how we can help affect positive change with kiddos and the way they experience things in the future. So yeah, it's exciting. Thank you.
And the only other thing is we were able to submit the Community Schools Implementation Grant, and it was submitted last Thursday. Kudos to Mr. McCleave's team. It was a great collaborative approach between many of us, but I think it ended up being about a 50-page document, and couldn't have done it without everybody on the team. And so we are keeping our fingers crossed that we'll get that, because that would be huge for the school.
Very good.
Now we're ready.
Now we're ready.
Yeah. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you.
Mr. President, members of the board, I would like to point out on the consent agenda, just on the POs over $20,000, the Mountain West Golfscape. PR 2029, that is for the installation of the sod that you approved on Friday. So remembering that we are saving about $120,000 to $150,000 by purchasing the sod ourselves. So I recommend that you approve consent agenda finance items 1 through 4.
All right, so we have a recommendation from Superintendent Salazar to approve consent agenda items 1 through 4. Any questions? If there's no questions or discussion, we'll go ahead and go with a motion.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the consent agenda finance items 1 through 4.
So we have a motion, I'll need a second.
Second.
Okay, so the motion and a second, all members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, thank you.
Nicole, you finally get some grass. She's deep in thought. You finally get your grass. Yay.
Excited about that.
All right, the heavy hitter.
Heavy hitter. So, Mr. President, members of the board, if you don't have any more questions about our 22-23 budget, I recommend that you approve it.
So we have a recommendation from Superintendent Salazar to approve the 2022-2023 budget. No questions? Okay, motion. Any questions? No. Just thanks again for all the hard work. You understand the-
Fingers crossed.
That it all uploads.
It uploads, and you can go to graduation.
Yeah.
That's what I'm fighting with right now, is the upload.
Just the magnitude of it. I mean, this has definitely been a different budget cycle for me, at least. And you guys, this is not business as usual. I will tell you. So,
Huge.
This is a big thing for this district.
Yeah.
And so,
Gigantic.
just thank you for the hard work you and your team put into that. So, if there's no questions, I'll need a motion for approval. I think Mr. Chavez was ready to move on that. So moved. I'll need a second.
I'll second the budget.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All members in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next item that we have is the budget adjustment request that Ms. Young explained before during the work session about just so she can clean up ours and stuff. We don't know that we necessarily need it. If there is any changes or things that are cleaned up, they'll be brought back for the June for an official vote. So, Mr. President, members of the board, I recommend that you approve the FY 2021-22 PED budget adjustment request.
Is there a recommendation from Superintendent Salazar for the approval of the FY 2021-2022 PED budget adjustment request.
Mr. President, I so move for the approval of 2021-22 PED budget adjustment request.
So we have a recommendation, or a motion, I'll need a second.
I'll second.
All right, so a motion and a second, all members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Moving on.
So, next on our list is disposal of assets. So this is continuation of the prep for our auction. And so Antoinette and her department have been working very hard in Lincoln, and so we're getting it all on there. So we think this is our final answer for this auction. So we did a large portion during the last board meeting, got these on there, so we think we'll be good to go. And it's going to be some nice spring cleaning. So I recommend, Mr. President, members of the board, that you approve the disposal of assets.
All right. So a recommendation from Superintendent Salazar for the disposal of assets. Any questions, discussion? I know we've talked about this. I'll need a motion.
I'll motion for the disposal of assets.
All right, I'll need a second. All right, so I have a motion and Mr. Chapman second. All members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Very good. E through H.
Any updates on E through H? Not yet.
We're getting ready for it, right?
Yeah, it's not like, well, as soon as that budget goes in on Friday, we'll start working on preparing for audit. So it's never dull in her department.
Mr. President, members of the board, will actually probably need to have an audit entrance conference fairly soon. I don't know if you're all aware, but Ms. Tammy Chavez has left us, and so we have started some of the process because we wanted her to be able to pull her things before she left us. So we will probably need to be having an audit entrance conference shortly, so I will be contacting you on the audit committee pretty soon. I just need to get through budget like this is
One thing.
Yeah, we'll call you next month.
Yeah.
Moving on to personnel.
Look, I didn't even look at the clock.
Sorry, still. Mr. President, members of the board, just a little quick update, which I'd love to update on times like these. I had some vacancies listed on my board report, and I'm happy to report tonight that we've offered a history teaching position for Moriarty High School this afternoon. A candidate that we've been after actually for a while, so hopefully, you know, it pans out. And then a speech language pathologist for us. She jumped in the phone and felt like it. Yeah, so, yeah, those are always nice end of the day calls that I'm making. So, so that's all I have to update. Stand for any questions or?
I just have a question. Are we adding a second assistant principal at the high school? Is that why Mr. McLeave is moving up to the high school?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, no. It's your department.
No, we are not adding a
Oh, okay.
position.
I just didn't know if Mr. Montes was.
Mr. Montes is still there, yes. Mr. Daenerys will be leaving us and going to do some recruiting and education, military, back in his home state of Montana, right?
San Francisco.
San Francisco, that's right, yes.
And his
Montana.
wife has already moved and started her job, and he's here with the two little girls.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So if he looks a little ragged, help him out, you know, lick his hair and put it down.
Yeah, so board member Burns, we're just, we're not adding. We will miss Mr. Canary and his experience with the counseling department. Obviously, that's where he started, and then he was just a solid piece of the team for Mr. Adams with a lot of the systems that they had in place.
And then we do have interviews for the MES principal tomorrow morning. So we should have something maybe by the end of the week. We have some quality candidates, so we're excited. You want to ask him about his progress on the end of the year?
Oh, yeah, end of the year party.
I'm just so intrigued, I can't
Well,
wait.
it's stated in my report.
We will be providing breakfast sandwiches. And then going to try something new. And I put, we oftentimes, when we either put the staff back together, or sometimes at the end of the year, and very much like other school districts, we have some sort of keynote speaker or somebody to kick us off. And I think to send us off into the summer, we have a local comedian who does a very good job, who will give us some laughs and give us some entertainment, so we can have a great end of the year celebration, because it's well deserved. It's well deserved. Our celebrations last year, we were able to mask up, social distance, and meet individually at schools for years of service or retirement recognition, and this year we're back together. So we'll have it at the gym, and fingers crossed, and it all goes good. And then if some other activities. Yeah. So, but it's a secret.
It's a secret.
But we will need group participation from everyone there. It'll be a 300 plus group activity.
Right. Do you want to, what date and what time do they need to be there?
So it is May 27th. It starts at 8 o'clock. So.
Is that what time it starts, or breakfast?
Breakfast starts at 8, yeah. So we'll start the actual in the gym ceremony, celebration, get together, 8:30.
And we are doing it in the
whenever I
gym
get
this
everybody
year.
settled down. Yeah, I thought it,
We need some space.
we need some space. We still do, some distancing, but also the thoughts are we being staff members in the district, we've been in the pack a lot for different events, and it'll be nice to be in the Moriarty High School Pinto gym. We have staff members who I can almost guarantee have never stepped in the gym, to see how nice it is and to see the facilities that we have, and just to showcase that facility for our staff members.
Thank you.
Plus it helps out with the group activity.
No spoiler alerts, no spoilers.
All right, any questions for Mr. Viviano? Very good, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Moving on to support services, special projects, and other items. Any questions for transportation, tech, maintenance, food service? Everyone's getting off easy tonight. All right, very good. If there's no questions, then I think we can move on to our first action item.
So the last 2 years, we have the APT Family Enterprise, which family name is the Chavez family. They have been around our district for a very long time, and they donated all of the headphones for all the secondary students, headphones and mics, when the kids were in COVID, and so they donated that to the district. This year they chose Route 66 to donate $25,000, and so they worked directly with Dr. Harrison to what they needed is kind of like for the adults, for the students, for, and so it was her wish list that she always wanted.
Not 25,000 though, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
What did I say?
25,000.
25,000. Wasn't it 6,000?
60. How much is it? I'm sorry.
Not 25.
I was getting
I wrote that number down.
$977.
Right.
Like,
$677. Okay.
Still a lot.
I wonder where I got that 25,000. I wrote it from something else. It was
Up
obviously.
to 25,000.
Okay. So sorry about that. Got her all excited. Really, the other principals, you see how they were turning on her like nobody's business? The Chavezes,
Sarah's family, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
Sarah
Sarah
Chavez.
Chavez.
Yes.
Sarah Chavez.
That's who she's the daughter and it's her father.
It's actually the
correct?
Tenorios family. It's the Anthony Tenorio is the father, it's his foundation.
There you go. Okay. They don't like to be recognized, and so that's
why it's ATP.
Yeah. So I really botched that whole thing, but I'm not going to start over. So I'm just recommending that you approve the donation.
Yes. So we have a recommendation from Superintendent Salazar to accept the donation from the APT Family Enterprise to Route 66 Elementary.
I so move for the donation of the APT Family Enterprise, cash donation to Route 66.
Second. We've got a motion and a second. All members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. And I'm sure we will.
Sending.
I think it always works out good now that we're doing the out-of-state transportation requests when the students are actually present. You know, there's a little extra pressure.
Yes, exactly. It's kind of like, I noticed that Mr. Crow stayed. It's kind of like, has to make sure that we get.
And it looks like Colorado is
the destination. Yeah, that's exactly. So, Mr. President, members of the board, we've got 3 requests. You can take them individually, or we can do them as a whole. Out-of-state transportation for students has to be approved by the board. The JROTC program is going to be going to Colorado Springs. MHS volleyball is going to Durango for a camp, and MHS boys basketball is going to Gunnison. Mr. Crow, do you want to share a little bit about what you're going to do at your JROTC program?
It's a summer camp for leadership. It'll be hosted at Fort Carson with the Denver Public Schools and Fountain Fort Carson High School. It's a week-long, Monday through Friday, 100% paid by the United States Army.
So it's not, it is in Colorado Springs, okay.
Yeah, Fort Carson, Colorado Springs.
Yes, you guys go every summer, don't you?
The last couple times been in El Paso, Texas at Fort Bliss. It's about that.
I think Colorado's a little nicer weather.
Take it back.
Very good. So I recommend that you approve the out-of-state transportation request for the 3 items.
So we have a recommendation from Superintendent Salazar to approve the out-of-state transportation requests for JROTC, MHS volleyball, and MHS boys basketball. Any questions, individual questions from any of them? All right. So if there's no questions, then I'll need a motion for approval. So any motion, I'll need a second.
I'll second.
So the motion and a second, all members in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes, thank you.
And we're really excited. We looked at the dates, and I don't think there's going to be any overlap with suburban issues. So we're excited. There's vehicles for everybody. So.
That's awesome.
Because usually they all happen, like there's one day overlap so that there's issues with transportation, but I think. So on board policy, Mr. President, members of the board, we do have 4 policies that are for the first read from our policy advisory group that we are part of. The one that Mr. Bibiano and I are working with the Board Association as well as the attorney that works on these policies is Advisory 231 on the teacher residency program. And I think that we just need some verbiage clarification because these funds went straight to higher education to do these teacher residencies for teachers to have pay for their student teaching, etc. And the way that this policy reads, it's provided by the school and the school board. So we're getting clarification. I actually think that at the school law conference, there may be some questions asked about that and some verbiage change. The other thing that is going to be a little bit different is on the advisory 232 about the return to work with staying out 90 days and you can then staff can work 36 months. Mr. Bibiano's department will have to be keeping track of that, especially since if it was 9 months, which the normal school year is it would be for 4 years, but with extended days and different things, they're really going to have to keep track of when they start, when they finish. The 90 days, does it start on May 27th, the last day of school, or does it start July 1st? So those are some of the things that the personnel departments are working on across the state, so he'll be working on that. But this is a first read. We'll bring it back to you with more details, and there may be that for the second read and approval in June, and there may be some that we put off if we don't have satisfactory answers that we need to go for. So I don't know, is there any questions that you have looking at that?
All right, any questions? Moving on to advanced planning.
So just a reminder, the law conference is June 2nd and 4th. Our district is presenting, and so I said, sure, we'll present, and I'm actually going to be gone. So our board president, Mr. Armino, and our ed tech specialist is presenting basically on tech and what we've done in our district, and we're really moving it from hardware and just being pieces to actually, using it as a tool for instruction and kids making products. So obviously you can see, they'll do 20-minute roundtables, so the new board members will go from table to table. There will be, it's 4 different districts, right, that will be presenting on different topics. So they'll be there presenting, representing as well, I'm sure. So, board retreat will be on June 9th, and it'll be at the CES building, and Patty's all over the food, so we are going to have you fat and happy that day. So we have breakfast burritos from Frontier, we've got Rudy's Barbecue for lunch, and so, yeah. Oh, cobbler. I insisted on cobbler. It's kind of like, I'm going to go get us a gallon of ice cream to go on top of it. So.
Sounds good. I really just want to say that I'm really looking forward to this board retreat with everybody, because we get so much accomplished during that. You guys are really going to win. I mean, you get to know everybody, and everybody gets to get on the same page, and if you have different ideas, we're just swapping them, and it's really, really cool. It works out really. Sounds good.
One thing that we have done in the past, and different people have different work schedules now, that the summer meetings in June and July, we had done those in the morning. I know with Wendy's schedule, we talked that doesn't really work, but if we wanted to do an earlier evening on Tuesday evenings, if you want to do a 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, or we can do a 7 o'clock. So it's up to you guys. It would be the months of June and July. So. What are those dates of June and July? It's the 21st, is that correct?
I think so.
21st and the 19th. And it's up to you guys totally. I mean, we can keep the same where we're at, or we can be earlier.
I'm flexible.
Okay.
So whatever is best for.
June or July?
Yeah, June and July.
I could try to be flexible. I mean, I think for me, unfortunately, later would probably be better, but I mean, we could maybe do like a 4:30 or 5 or something like that.
And then we'll be at the ranch and hold this.
You're just leaving us high and dry?
What is days you want to go to them?
Check it out.
And Wendy, I mean, you're there, or your conflict is.
I can get here by 2:30.
By 2:30?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Like that. So maybe.
Elizabeth, what works for your?
And even if we wanted to do like a lunch time frame or something, that would 12:30.
Like before?
No, like if, I could, for those 2 days, I could make even like a 12:30 work.
Oh,
If you guys, if the lunchtime works better.
That might work. I could work on that.
We've never done that before, that would be kind of cool.
Still have a job, still have bills.
I know, but that's why it's kind of like, if we need to do it, continue the same, but it's like, just give people flexibility.
Yeah.
A lunch,
I
okay.
would probably make that work.
Cool. Okay.
For June and July?
And then, the other thing is just reminding, about be there by 9:30 on, Friday for graduation.
Oh, right.
The traffic's crazy, and there will be lots of kids and grandmas and everybody else, so. Any other dates, things that we need to, okay. So, Mr. President, members of the board, I recommend that we adjourn this meeting.
So we have a recommendation from Superintendent Salazar for adjournment. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We got a second? All members in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.